Into the president, his family, his finances, what they want from Don Jr. and Eric Trump. And they're now demanding the notes from the conversations the president had with Vladimir Putin. The interview just coming in tonight, the two young sisters surviving nearly 48 hours, stranded in the woods, freezing rain and cold, how they stayed alive. The unthinkable crime the mother killed, her family telling authorities it was a panhandler. Instead, tonight, police say it was them, the husband and stepdaughter now charged in her murder. The CEO of the San Francisco Giants, the video of the altercation with his wife, and what the CEO has just revealed tonight. And the drivers in their cars when an avalanche of snow buries them.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir, reporting tonight from Beauregard, Alabama.
And good evening tonight from Beauregard, Alabama, the center of a tornado disaster zone stretching across 4 states tonight. At least 40 tornadoes reported, leaving an enormous trail of death and destruction. In fact, here in this community alone, at least 23 dead. In fact, the sheriff here telling me today entire families were killed in their homes together. You can see behind me here tonight, this home lifted right off of its foundation, actually flipped right over, and the cars and trucks in nearly every driveway as you pass through these neighborhoods are crushed. You can actually see the windows blown out or trees sitting right on top of them. And the worst of the tornadoes struck right here in Beauregard. Today, we were here when they actually came out and revealed that this was actually stronger than first thought. An EF4 now, they're saying, with winds 170 miles an hour. On the ground, think about this. It was a mile wide, 24 miles long, this path. Homes, entire neighborhoods gone tonight. Devastation across several states. In Talbot in Georgia, a tornado ripping buildings apart. Neighbors there holding hands and praying along their shattered street. And here in Beauregard, they are mourning the dead tonight. In fact, we've learned the youngest is just 6 years old. You know, I remember standing in Muir, Oklahoma several years back. It was horrific then. And tonight they say this is the deadliest tornado to hit since then. Tonight, communities across the South ravaged. The Alabama community of Beauregard devastated by 2 deadly tornadoes that tore through at nearly the same time, taking a similar path, crossing over one another. Today, while we were here, investigators on the ground upgrading the deadliest of the 2 to an EF4. You just learned that a short time ago.
Yes.
An EF4.
That's correct.
Winds of 170 miles per hour?
Yes.
In the end, a path of destruction 24 miles long. Among the dead, at least 3 children, including a 4th grader, Taylor Thornton. Authorities telling us today this is their worst natural disaster ever and the deadliest tornado in the U.S. since Muir, Oklahoma. Sheriff Jay Jones took us past the barriers today to show us the worst of the devastation. Homes with entire families inside, lost in them.
2 generations of people, in some cases, all in one home, and unfortunately we became victims of the storm.
None of them survived.
None of the ones that we located, they did not survive. That's correct.
First responders working in the overnight hours, searching for survivors. And we're told tonight the searching will continue into the evening hours again, going home to home, combing through debris. It began Sunday afternoon. The eerie, ominous sound of those emergency sirens blaring, ringing out across neighborhoods.
Oh my God, dude. Oh my God.
In fact, several dozen tornadoes tear across 4 states.
Holy cow.
The sparks seen in the distance. The pounding rain. People sheltering wherever they could in this bowling alley in Fort Benning, Georgia. All of them thankful to be alive.
I thank the Lord. You tell God thank you.
LaShobia Daniels and her family huddled together in their bathtub.
And I just noticed that the wind was picking up, and I looked outside, and I saw my horse running and the wind blowing. That's when my husband asked me what was wrong, and I was like, I think it's a tornado.
Her next-door neighbor's home destroyed. The neighbors did survive this, and they were grateful that they survived too. Communities tonight grappling with the toll. Homes smashed to pieces, vehicles overturned. The roof ripped right off this local sports bar. Surveillance video capturing the terrifying moments the tornado sliced it open. You can see the beds from the home, and this is what's left from inside the house. And it used to be sitting a good 100 feet in that direction. Homes were literally lifted off the ground and carried in the air. Sherry McClendon and her husband returning to this property. The family just sold this home to a couple months ago. They fear the news isn't good. What was the age range of the couple that bought this house?
They were young. They were in their 20s.
20s?
Young, yeah.
And they didn't survive?
We hadn't found them. We don't know. We don't know.
And standing with her husband, Billy, we looked out at the horizon. Every home gone. But you know this area, and your wife was just trying to describe. She was telling me that, I mean, there were homes all through here.
Sure. Yes, sir. All over the place. Yeah. Not anymore, but...
The devastation, the destruction really as far as the eye can see here. And, you know, one of the things I asked the sheriff here was how much time did families have? Were there warnings? He said there were alerts on TV and on the phone in the minutes right before this tornado touched down. The meteorologist had actually been talking about severe weather since last Thursday here. But he said this tornado came in so quickly, was so powerful, even for families who had, you know, safe places in parts of their home or places to run to if a tornado were to hit. It simply was not enough. And the tornado outbreak here was part of that same system that brought dangerous driving to the Northeast, closing schools, grounding 1,000 flights, and sending a passenger jet veering off the runway during its second attempt to land today. Here's ABC senior transportation correspondent David Curley tonight.
All that heavy snow, too much for a United jet, sliding off a main runway just before noon, part of its landing gear breaking off and ending up near an engine. A United Express pilot and 4 passengers flying from Newark were treated for injuries at Presque Isle. The airline says it's trying to learn more about why this 50-seat regional jet severely veered to the right. More than a foot of snow in parts of the Northeast. It's the biggest storm this year for Boston, bringing the city closer to the normal snowfall totals for the season in just one day. A day to dig out and restore power. 110 million hit hard.
This is thick, it's heavy, so take breaks, don't push yourself.
To the south, icy, snowy roads proving treacherous too.
They just slipping and sliding. I did a 360. Yeah, that was it. That was it for me.
North of Philadelphia, 2 teens killed when their car veered off the road. That storm resulted in 1,000 flights being canceled that rippled through the entire system. As far as that United jet, 2 NTSB investigators are headed to the scene to join the FAA and trying to figure out why it slid off the runway. David Curley with us tonight. David, thank you. And this major storm is moving out tonight after bringing that snow, the danger at the airports, and, of course, the deadly tornadoes right here. But right behind it tonight, even as they still search in this community right into the evening, a deep freeze is now moving in. Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z is tracking it all for us. Ginger?
Hey, David, you are right in the center of this block of freeze alerts that stretch from Texas all the way to North Carolina. The next couple of mornings are going to be severely cold. So anywhere from Houston, which tomorrow morning will feel like 23, to Birmingham, Alabama, it'll feel like 17. And the wind chill's obviously much worse in Chicago, 7 below there. But the single digits make it all the way from Philadelphia to Boston by Wednesday morning, David.
Ginger Z with us tonight as well. Ginger, thank you. We're going to have much more on these deadly tornadoes in a moment here, but we do turn to the other news on this Monday night and to the outpouring of grief after the death of actor Luke Perry, days after suffering a massive stroke. Known for his roles on Beverly Hills 90210 and more recently on Riverdale, tonight he is being remembered as a colleague, a friend, and he was so young, just 52. Here's ABC's chief national correspondent, Matt Gutman, tonight.
With that squint and those iconic sideburns, Luke Perry defined cool for a generation of teens.
I'm not in a good mood today. In fact, I'm feeling a little hostile.
As Dylan McKay in Beverly Hills 90210, he was the heartthrob.
I'm very happy that we're together right now.
Sensitive and brooding, a role that launched Perry's career. In TV, film, and in theater.
The stage, it's you and the audience. You have a direct connection to them. No one can edit you once you're out there. I need you to know.
Decades later, he was enjoying another hit, now playing Archie's dad on the CW show Riverdale.
I'm trying to build a safe life for you.
Drawing in a new generation of fans. Perry was too busy to join a revival of 90210, a reboot announced just last week. A day later, that call for help from the actor's home.
102, rescue 78, stroke.
Perry suffering a massive stroke at just 52 years old. Stroke is more common among the elderly, but can occur at any age. 1 in 3 strokes occur in people younger than 65. Tonight, Luke Perry is being remembered by fellow actors. Molly Ringwald writing, "My heart is broken. I will miss you so much, Luke Perry." Patricia Arquette calling Perry an irreplaceable, beautiful, and kind human being, incredible friend, and adoring father. David, when he died at this hospital, Luke Perry was surrounded by friends and family, including his daughter and his son. And tonight, his family is thanking everyone from around the world for their prayers and their support. David.
Matt Gupton with us tonight. And Matt, thank you. On the Hill tonight, Democrats making it clear they're now on the hunt. Now in control of the House, of course, after the midterms, they are ramping up their investigations of President Trump, launching several investigations into the president, his family, his finances. And also we're learning tonight they're asking for notes, any documentation of the president's conversations with Vladimir Putin. At times, only translators were in the room, and sometimes only a Russian translator. ABC's Mary Bruce up on the Hill tonight.
Tonight, as Democrats launch a sweeping investigation into allegations of corruption, obstruction, and abuse of power, President Trump insists there's nothing to see here.
Mr. President, are you going to cooperate with Mr. Nadler?
I cooperate all the time with everybody. And you know the beautiful thing? No collusion. It's all a hoax.
But Democrats are going far beyond just the question of collusion. The House Judiciary Committee today demanding documents from 81 people and entities close to the president, including members of his family, sons Don Jr. and Eric, and son-in-law Jared Kushner. Some of Trump's closest former aides and advisors like Steve Bannon, Hope Hicks, and former White House counsel Don McGahn. His current campaign manager, Brad Parscale, and the Trump Organization's chief financial officer, Alan Weisselberg. Chairman Gerald Nadler says the Judiciary Committee, which has jurisdiction over impeachment, is making these requests to begin building the public record.
Impeachment is a long way down the road. We don't have the facts yet.
Democrats want to explore everything from the firing of former FBI Director James Comey to the hush money payments to Stormy Daniels to the president's meetings with Vladimir Putin and whether he and his family are profiting from the presidency. But Trump has said it all amounts to presidential harassment.
And all of a sudden, they're trying to take you out with okay?
In a meandering 2-hour off-script speech this weekend, the president ripping into his Democratic opponents.
They don't have anything with Russia. There's no collusion. So now they go and morph into, let's inspect every deal he's ever done. We're going to go into his finances. We're going to check his deals. We're going to check. These people are sick. They're sick.
And Mary Bruce with us live tonight on Capitol Hill. And Mary, tonight we've learned that 3 other committees are now formally requesting any and all information about the president's conversations with Vladimir Putin.
David, Democrats made clear today they are demanding to talk to anyone who had any inside access to those private conversations between the president and Putin, including the translators. And they want to see any notes or records related to their communications, whether they were those in-person meetings or even phone calls. David.
Mary Bruce tonight. Mary, thank you. And next here this evening to that stunning arrest in the murder of a Baltimore mother. Her family said she was stabbed to death. They say she was trying to help a panhandler. Tonight, her husband and stepdaughter, though, are now charged in her murder after being arrested in Texas. Here's ABC's Ariel Reshef.
It was the shocking story of a Good Samaritan, apparently stabbed to death by a Baltimore panhandler when she tried to give a woman with a baby $10.
She didn't die in vain. I'm going to make sure she didn't.
Jacqueline Smith's husband, who told police he watched the horror unfold, seemingly devastated.
I jumped out my car to run after him, but then I came back because my wife needed me more.
Her 28-year-old stepdaughter, who says she witnessed the killing too, later appeared visibly shaken.
She was just a beautiful person, and she didn't deserve for this to happen to her.
But tonight, a stunning twist. Authorities saying it was all an act. Keith and Valeria Smith, now under arrest, taken into custody in Texas near the Mexican border, accused of spinning a web of lies.
People took advantage of Baltimore. And what we want to make sure is that the truth comes out and justice is done.
David, Keith and Valeria Smith have been charged with first-degree murder. They will be extradited to Maryland and have not yet entered a plea. David?
Ariel, thank you. Overseas tonight, the vacation in Africa ending in tragedy. 4 Americans taking off in a helicopter from a national park in Kenya, crashing on an island, killing all of them and their Kenyan pilot. The U.S. Embassy now tonight confirming the names of 3 of those Americans, Anders Burke, Brandon Stapper, and John 40. And from Northern California tonight, the miracle survival of two little girls, sisters just 5 and 8. They spent nearly 48 hours in the cold and the rain, but they've been discovered and okay tonight. Here's ABC's Will Carr with the interview just in.
Tonight, a community celebrating a miracle.
Yes! We found them, and I'm so happy!
Two little girls survived for 44 hours in the Northern California woods. After an emotional family reunion, tonight, we're hearing from those brave little girls for the first time.
It's starting to drizzle, so I knew we had to find shelter fast. How did you feel, Caroline? A little scared.
8-year-old Caroline and her 5-year-old sister Leah disappeared when they went for a hike instead of waiting for their mother.
I started to worry and I started to scream.
The girls quickly got lost. Then they relied on their survival training, even starting a fire.
We go on camping a lot each summer. And I knew how to start a fire because I watch a lot of Tropical Paradise.
Dehydrated, they licked water droplets off tree leaves.
I told her to think happy thoughts of our family, and I kept watch from us the night.
2 volunteers ultimately found their boot tracks and then the girls, who were rushed to the hospital and are now back home, safe and sound, with their parents.
Tonight, the 2 volunteers who tracked the girls through this steep, dangerous terrain are being praised for helping save their lives. David.
We're glad they're okay. All right, Will, thank you. There is still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Monday. The CEO of the San Francisco Giants, and that video seen by millions, the altercation with his wife, what he has now just revealed tonight. What's happened after that video? Also, the high school party igniting an uproar, red cups arranged in the shape of a swastika, students then giving Nazi salutes, and what the school is now threatening to do tonight. And then the drivers in their cars when an avalanche of snow suddenly blasts across an American highway right on top of them. A lot more news ahead tonight. Stay tuned. Next tonight here, San Francisco Giants CEO. He is now revealing he's taking a leave of absence, now apologizing for a physical altercation with his wife. Here's ABC's Kenyan Whitworth.
Tonight, new fallout from that public fight between San Francisco Giants CEO Larry Baer and his wife. Baer now taking a leave of absence. The team's board of directors saying Mr. Baer has acknowledged that his behavior was unacceptable, apologized to the organization, and is committed to taking steps to make sure that this never happens again. TMZ Sports posting that video showing the moment he tries to pry a phone away from his wife, Pam. This as she falls to the ground, yelling for help. Pam Baer yelling in the background, her husband telling her to stop.
Larry Baer later told the San Francisco Chronicle, "My wife and I had an unfortunate public argument related to a family member, and she had an injured foot, and she fell off her chair in the course of the argument."
The couple saying we are deeply embarrassed by the situation and have resolved the issue.
David, San Francisco police are still investigating, as is Major League Baseball, saying they're gathering all the facts surrounding the situation. David?
Kenny Whitworth with us tonight. Kenny, thank you. When we come back here, the high school party outrage tonight, the students giving a Nazi salute, and what the school is now threatening tonight. And you'll see the moment that avalanche suddenly struck an American highway. Drivers trapped in a moment. To the index of other news tonight, outrage over a high school party in Newport Beach, California. Photos posted online show teenagers playing a drinking game arranged in red cups in the shape of a swastika. Some teens giving a Nazi salute. Newport Harbor High School officials investigating, and they will hold a public forum tonight. And to that massive avalanche in Colorado, snow barreling down the mountain in the 10-mile canyon, the avalanche blasting vehicles on I-70, forcing the highway to shut down. Police say all the vehicles made it out, and no one was hurt. Incredible there. When
they're not able to...
Tonight here, America Strong. From the heart of the disaster zone, a moment of prayer, of hope in a high school gym.
Today, the students of Beauregard High School gathered in the gym to hold a prayer service on the basketball court. Coming together, bowing their heads. A mother and daughter praying together. Wanda Dotson and her daughter Caitlin resting her head on her mother's shoulder. Holding hands like so many in this community. Afterward, friends embracing, knowing they have a lot of rebuilding to do. And this sign made by those students saying it all. Beauregard Strong, as they prayed together, mourned together, and vowed to rebuild their community together.
We're with this community, and we know the prayers of the nation are with all of them here, too. And we thank you for watching here on a Monday night. I'm David Muir. I hope to see you right back here tomorrow.